final thing I want to talk to you about was just the whole issue of sustainability generally, and ESG, so environmental, social, government, and the way that investors are really pushing that, the way that young people, and actually all the research says that people are thinking differently through the pandemic about how they live their lives and the importance of climate. People are noticing in big cities, breathing cleaner air and all the rest of it. Thoughts on how businesses can just get a sustainable mindset and what it might lead to in terms of employee engagement and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I mean, I think if I think about my sector, what we're doing is we're focusing on the big bits of kit, the big projects, but there is a hearts and minds bit, absolutely. And whether that's households, customers, or your employees, you need to be supporting that. So I think certainly within our organisation, for all that we're doing, the heavy lifting and to an extent investing in renewable generation is our bread and butter. It's what we do, so we're closer to the reasons why and the urgent need for it. But there are ways of engaging with employees through employee networks. We've got our employee network. We've got a fantastic new employee network called ICANN. It's our Climate Action Network. And that's about employees really taking ownership for having that network of invested employees who have that passion, and they can then use that as a platform to communicate effectively across the business, and with senior management as well, with support from the business too. I think when it comes to customers and companies, there's an element of technology adoption, thinking about what choices they have, enabling and supporting your employees in that journey, if again you are of sufficient scale and size to access that support. And that might be even understanding what options are out there for tax incentives around electric vehicle acquisition, for example, use of smart appliances, deployment of energy efficiency mechanisms within your operation, and basically that focus on building and household improvements that you might actually be taking your premises, whether that's domestic or commercial, to try and ensure that you are using any energy as efficiently as possible. I think the thing is you need to keep that engagement going. It's a constant learning exercise. I do think that in the next 10-year period, energy efficiency is going to also become a big opportunity for businesses as well, as people look to make their homes more efficient and economise on how much energy they are using, which is probably a perverse statement from somebody who generates electricity, that I want you to be careful with what you're using as well. But if I look at reports from the likes of the Committee on Climate Change, we're going to more than double our electricity consumption between now and 2050. And that's going to require 4 times as much renewable generation to come onto the bars. We also then need to think about how we need electricity to help with the production of hydrogen. And that's another element and opportunity there as well. And so what we do have, we need to make sure we're using it purposefully and correctly and not wastefully. So engaging with your employees, keeping that there, supporting them if they are looking to make changes to perhaps how they commute to work, whether that's through a bike scheme or an e-bike scheme, whether it's through electric vehicles or electric vehicle charging at their work premise, whether it's to do with any loan funding for electric vehicles as well, and to think about that. And then I guess for individuals as well and for businesses, use of a smart meter is always probably a good idea at this stage in the help, so that they have the data and the information to make those choices.
Yeah, and so much of this is actually when you take in some of the tax efficiencies, and I'm speaking on behalf of an accountancy firm here that specialises in a lot of that tax advice as well, that actually it can remove a lot of the perceived cost burden. And I'm seeing a huge amount of companies, very small to very large, putting sustainability and a contribution to positive action on climate at the heart of their purpose, and that their employee engagement scores are going up as a result, which is absolutely terrific. I mean, look, on a 1 to 10, what's your how hopeful are you on our ability to tackle this?
To tackle this, so I think the thing for me is, I know we can do it because I work in a sector that is part of the solution. I think that with the right policy frameworks in place, with the right support, there's already the capability there. I don't doubt that for a minute. There is the money there. We know that there's money that will flow there. I could optimistically say a 10, because we will get there. I think the challenge is going to be to try and get all of those other mechanisms and frameworks in place to enable it to happen. And I don't doubt for a minute that our sector is well placed to contribute effectively to that vision, and ensure that we can all have that cleaner and greener lifestyle that is much needed. And I think COVID-19 has really brought into focus as well. None of us want to go backwards. None of us want to go back to necessarily, using or relying on technologies that are inefficient. If there is the opportunity to use COVID-19 as a bit of a reset moment and really catapult us forward into this green recovery towards net zero, to address some of the challenges that the climate emergency presents to us, we have to take it. And I think everyone is minded that way now as well. Having endured 2020, we have to be optimistic looking ahead to the rest of the decade.
Yeah, and maybe look, if we can get through this, we've got a mindset where we can tackle, that other big hairy challenge, which is, climate. And I'm definitely seeing that banks, financial institutions will start to, really, and the bank that I'm a part of is really laid out its stall on climate and, reducing fossil fuel lending. And actually you can see the trend for energy efficiency around mortgages, premium better rates for mortgages, commercial loans and all the rest of it. So I think your positivity is a great point to end on, Lindsay. Look, thank you so much for your time, for that tremendous insight into, an industry that I think a lot of us maybe don't really understand, tips for businesses and just that wider policy perspective on climate sustainability, and, just that insight into your hope for the future. And I think the key message for me is that this is for absolutely everybody. This is not just for the energy companies or other people. The circular economy, the recycle, the reuse, the reduce waste is such an important thing that every company, small or large, through their employees, and then they take that into their homes, can be part of. So thank you so much for your time. Really enjoyed it. And best of luck with that in Portugal.
Thank you. Nice to speak to you, Lena. Take care.
Thank you.